Okay, good morning, good afternoon, brothers and sisters. So this was brought to my attention by various commenters that Kid Blue, who had recently said in an interview, and I thought it was performance art or he was just being someone with dry sense of humor, but he said that he's a second generation clone.
My first gen. I'm a second gen now. That's why you see the celebrity bursts say I'm born in Toronto, but that's false. My first gen was born in Jersey. However, I was cloned by Clonate in Canada.
And there was some speculation that his first gen was xxxtentaction, who I've covered in other videos. And so what's interesting about this, they don't look identical, but similar, right? And one of the things about cloning, there is some aspect of variation, but clearly they're not identical in terms of what they look like, but similar. There's enough similarities that this would be possible. But what I found about what's interesting about this is that apparently Kid Blue, and I know nothing about this, is a character named Majin Buu, and Kid Blue is another version of this, right? And if you Google xxxtentacion and Kid Blue, you'll find that there are these similarities where there's multiple videos where he's either comparing himself to this Dragon Ball Z character or fans are comparing him to this character. So either way that this person, this rapper who's taken this character's name on, right, has similarities to xxxtentacion, and I don't know if he's trying to create this illusion himself or this is actually there's some validity to what he's saying here, being a second generation clone. It says Majin Blue or Kid Blue Boo is a genie-like magical life form created by the evil warlock Bidididi. I'm not pronouncing any of these things right, so please don't comment. This will be hopefully my last video that has anything to do with Dragon Ball Z. Created by the evil warlock Bidididi that terrorized galaxies by destroying entire planets millions of years before events of Dragon Ball Z took place. He was temporarily sealed away and brought to Earth. However, Bidididi was killed and Boo remained hidden. During the series, he is revived by Bididi's son in order to carry out his plans to conquer the universe. Okay, so I don't know what to say here, but I wanted to get into this other little piece here as well that has some similar aspects to it, and that's where somebody sent me this clip of an interview that this actor Rami Malek does with Jimmy Kimmel, and he says that Freddie Mercury is alive. So let's listen to that.
Ballet to join them in London in a ballet because they thought he was an exceptional dancer. And when he got to training with them, they realized he couldn't dance. And he'll tell you this.
Really?
Yeah, he just moved. It was kind of spontaneous combustion with him.
And of course, he can't talk to Freddie because Freddie is dead, allegedly. And so both of these ideas, these two ideas, I want to put them together here. This idea that Kid Blue is some sort of second generation clone of xxxtentacion, and that Freddie Mercury is actually still alive. There's this idea that people have that these celebrities that are sacrificed don't go away. They are kept alive. That they are just written out of the drama that we're all given, this fake drama that all of us are given, and that they have a like island of the sacrifice celebrities where they all hang out. And so the reason why I never thought that that is true, the reason why I personally don't think that that's a realistic idea of what happens to them, is that they're a loose end, right? Joan Rivers is a loose end. Robin Williams is a loose end. Chris Cornell is a loose end. And they can't just go out and have a normal life after that, right? After being celebrities, after playing a celebrity role. Because within a short period of time, I've talked about this, when an actor plays like, say, Superman or James Bond, they start feeling like that character. They start thinking of themselves as that character. It's one of the big problems about being actors. Some of that is to do with dark energy or demonic energy or disembodied souls that are a part of the acting process. But part of it is you start believing in your own lives. You'll see movies like this where somebody pretends to be somebody else, and after a while they can't help but to start believing that they're believing in their own lives, believing in their own illusions, right? We see this as well with the Stockholm Syndrome and things. I've talked about this in the past. And so having these characters running around loose where they can be seen by people, or maybe they want to spill their guts about what really happened, that they're not really dead and all these things. And so to me, it doesn't make any sense that they would keep them alive, but there's some evidence. Like this guy basically says, he says that Freddie Mercury will tell you this. Well, he can't tell you this if he's dead, right? He'll tell you this story. And so again, maybe the guy misspoke, but there's a lot of mistakes out there. So again, I don't personally believe that this is the appropriate strategy for what we call the controllers, to leave all these loose ends. But you never know. You have to be open and flexible, because so much of what we're doing here is speculation. And so there are things that I don't believe are necessarily logical or even make any sense at all. But again, the whole world has sort of gone bad as it is. The other piece of this is, and I've talked about this, I know they can clone humans because they can clone animals. And I've talked about this. But the way the cloning process works that we know about is that they take some sort of cells that form the embryo, right? So instead of having a sperm or an egg, they create the embryo out of clone cells, and they insert it into the womb of, say, like a dog, right? If you're going to clone a dog, you create a clone embryo and you insert it into the uterus of a female dog, and she gives birth to the clones. And that's what we know about cloning. That's what they're telling us they can do. That they can clone cells and turn it into an embryo, and then it can be born like a normal baby, right? Through the process of a mother raising the baby inside her uterus, raising whatever it is inside her uterus. That's what we know that they're admitting to being able to do. But there's this other theory out there that they can clone somebody and bypass the whole birthing process and, like, say, clone them to be a 40-year-old person. And so again, I don't think that that's scientifically possible, certainly at this point, in what human beings can do, right? You see the leap here between taking a cloned cells and turning into an embryo, which is an unnatural process, but using, diverting some of the powers of nature and creating an embryo out of cloned cells, sticking it in a uterus, and then letting the natural process of a mother take over, right? You understand that that is something that isn't that big of a leap. But what a lot of people think in the truth community is they can take a cloned embryo or cloned cells, put it in some sort of fake uterus or storage pod, and develop this genetically until it turns like 40 years old, and then have it shut off the cloning process and the aging process, because what you'd have is a rapid aging process. You understand this, when they clone something, then it still has to develop into the various stages of life, right, that it goes through until it becomes a baby dog or whatever. And so they'd have to accelerate that. Instead of having a 9-month gestation period, that within 3 months it not only became a baby, but would have to jump all the way to being a 40-year-old man, and then it would come out completely blank, right? Wouldn't have language, it wouldn't know how to walk, all these things. Okay, it wouldn't have any of the capabilities of the 40-year-old person. So if you clone somebody, it wouldn't come out being able to talk and walk and do the job of the 40-year-old original person. So as far as I can tell, we're not even close to some kind of tech. I don't even know if that's possible to do something like that. But then again, you have these various types of stories that fit this narrative. And if this narrative is true, the technology that the so-called, what I call the controllers have at their disposal is a lot worse and a lot scarier than we know about. Because if they're able to turn around clones, or they have this extensive program where they fake sacrifice people and then they reuse the person in some other capacity, then, you know, the level of brainwashing and mind control in terms of the public and all these things, in terms of this drama that they're playing out, this highly scripted drama, is a lot worse than we thought. You see, there's no definites here because the beast is feeding itself, right? It's putting out these narratives. It put out the Illuminati narrative. That came from the beast. It didn't come from conspiracy theorists or individuals. They have been pushing Illuminati symbolism and agenda for like 60, 100 years, right? And then all of a sudden they brought it into the public eyes through Dan Brown's Angels and Demons and other various types of rappers and people embracing these symbols, right? And so what you have is pop culture, you have conspiracy theory narratives, you have the drama and the need to create a buzz and create sensationalistic drama that stimulates the interest of people who have a lower than goldfish level attention span, right? So some of these things could be true, or they can be completely part of the drama, and they're invoking something where they have audience participation, right? In terms of people blogging about it or making videos or going to social media and participating in this contrived script, this contrived drama to keep people engaged, because people often are like dead inside, especially the younger generation, and just don't have any purpose or goals or reason for existence. And so they're totally embedded and interwoven in terms of their consciousness with the Hollywood drama. And so some of these things, again, there's no definites. You can't separate what's speculation, what's being created for just attention or buzz or to create, revenue streams or any of these things, or to move the population in a certain direction, or what's actually going on scientifically and with these people, dead or alive. Because we live in a world where nothing is real because it is filled with liars, right? A world full of liars. This is the end product. All right, this is Paul Romano, definitely reporting from the apocalypse. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.